Hi everyone, welcome to another session on our Impact and Influence series. Today we have Victoria from Property Services 360 joining us. Hi there, Vic.
Hi Lauren, how are you?
Well, thanks for joining us today.
Thank you for having me.
Oh, anytime. For those that don't know Vic, she's been in the industry for a little while and had a number of roles which has led her to her position today. Vic, just in really quick summary, for those that don't know Property Services 360, can you just give us a really quick high level overview of what you guys do?
Yeah, absolutely. So at Property Services 360, we partner with residential real estate agencies to reduce their admin and to minimise their risk around all things rental property compliance. So
I love it.
Yeah.
So realistically, anyone in that property management space or business owner space, reduce admin and reduce risk, tick the box. They is a benefit in so many ways in those two areas, isn't there?
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. Awesome. So let's step back a bit, Vic. Firstly, can you just give me a background of your role and your experience to what led you to today's role?
Yeah, sure. So my current role is General Manager at Property Services. I've been here for, around 2.5 years now. Prior to that, I was head of Property Management Department for a large independent real estate group, overseeing 4 of their offices, the property management side. And that's actually how I met Property Services 360. It's how I met Jim and Tony, the 2 directors.
Yep.
I was a customer, so I had first-hand experience of what it was like to work with them. And I think I was really taken with their passion for the industry and their curiosity, wanting to be able to solve problems for the industry. Yeah. And that's a passion of mine. So my background in real estate goes back to 2001, which is a little while ago now.
It's a bit scary when you think about it, isn't it?
Yeah, I don't like saying that out loud, but yes, I was about 21 years of age when I went into real estate. So, and since then I've worn all the hats, you name it: reception, leasing, BDM, agency owner. I actually started off in childcare and moved over to real estate. Yeah, so my first role in real estate was like this hybrid nannying and leasing role. I was looking after the agency owner's child.
Oh, that's brilliant.
Leasing as well. So that was like my foot into real estate. And I, while I was studying at TAFE. And then I soon moved on to another, an LJ Hooker agency, where I was really fortunate enough to be, I'd say, taken under the wing of 2 of the owners there who focused on property management. And that was pretty monumental for me, I think, because I had great mentorship. I had great teaching, and I think very early on I developed, a high value opinion of property management, and I've taken that with me wherever I go. So I didn't realise it at the time, but I now am really appreciative of that role. And then from there I went on and got more responsibility, moved into another office where I was in sole charge of the rent roll, and I actually bought into that rent roll. So at 24 I became a owner of a rent roll. That was another great experience for me. What else did I do after that? So I've obviously had other roles after that, but started another business when we sold that one and grew Reach Property Management from scratch. So that was another wonderful experience. And then I took a bit of time out of the industry when I had my second child. And I wanted to grow and learn and kind of upskill. So I went off and did certified coach training. I did my CFO training and assessment, and I went and did training. So I was teaching the licensing course, the certificate course in real estate, and doing small business coaching. So had a bit of an eclectic. Oh, and I also owned and ran a restaurant / cafe with my husband in there as well. I've had a kind of eclectic past, but I've always been involved in property management in some way, shape or form over those years. And I think having that experience outside of the industry, also I've been able to apply that to, bring that back to the industry as well.
Absolutely. And I love that you've been in every role in business, because it does it helps you with that approach. And it's I guess one of the things at Regrowth is very much about putting that practical experience into practice for us. And you guys are the same. Like, you get the challenges that property managers face. You understand the conversations that they're having around compliance with their landlords. You know the pushback. You know how to then overcome those challenges. So can you, I guess for me, what do you see as those biggest challenges that property managers are facing in the compliance space at the moment? Because that's, never ending, I feel, and probably growing.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, look, it's no surprise to anyone that the industry is facing, staff shortages and a whole lot of turnover, and also portfolios are getting bigger and bigger. So there's a lot more for property managers to manage on a daily basis. I can't attribute challenges in compliance just to that. I think it's always been a bit of a challenge. When did the compliance legislation came out? Was it 2016, I think, for smoke alarms? About that, yeah.
A long time ago.
Don't quote me on that, but I think it was about 2016. And we're still seeing challenges in getting that compliance rate up. So we will often sort of see officers sitting at the sort of 40 to 50% rate of compliance, which is a challenge. And I think that's only going to get harder given that we've got staff turnover and more demands of our PMs.
Why do you think that is? Because it's such an important area of compliance. For me, it's a no-brainer if I was a landlord, and I know it's easy for me to just say that, but why do you think that property managers have that challenge converting landlords into using, or ticking the box on that area of compliance and using a supplier like you guys?
Yeah. Look, I think there's a couple of different things at play there. Firstly, there's traditionally been a lack of transparency over the current status of portfolios compliance. It's actually, it's admin heavy. You have to keep up to date with all those data points and keep entering it all in. And if that gets away from an agency, they don't have that snapshot of the data. Even if they do keep up with that admin, it's still difficult, to do exception reporting and everything like that. So often we find that the principal's not really aware, or the head of department might not even be aware of their true compliance numbers. And especially if the property manager leaves, we've all had that experience where it kind of comes out of the woodwork sort of thing. So that's one thing, not having a simple transparency, tool to see where they're at. The other thing you touched on is it's just, it's not the loudest barking dog in your portfolio, is it? Like, landlords aren't calling you and saying, hey, why haven't you signed me up? Tenants are not calling you and saying that. So it's really easy to kind of let it get away from you. And then another big one is, I think that PMs are still not really equipped with the language and the knowledge to be able to essentially sell that service to the landlord. We've got that age-old issue of strata versus landlord responsibility, and that can be a hard one.
So whose responsibility is it, landlord or strata?
It's landlord responsibility. Yes. There are some instances where strata will cover it, but there's the devil's in the detail around that. And it's the landlord's job to maximise their profits, right? So they don't want to pay for something if they don't need it. But the property manager needs to be equipped with that knowledge and understanding of the legislation. And there's quite a few pieces of legislation that overlap to form compliance. So they need to be equipped with the tools, resources and dialogue to be able to explain to the landlord why they need it. It's in their best interest.
Yeah, absolutely. It's definitely a challenge that I know that, I come across when working with clients is, that's not our responsibility. We don't have to do that. Strata's got it covered. So interesting point. And it's confidence in that language and dialogue to have that conversation with your owner when they do push back, isn't it?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
And so with the visibility, because I think that's an important point when you said that transparency of essentially around reporting, right? It's if you don't know, you don't know. And you can think that things are ticking over really well, and you can think that everything's compliant and everyone's on board. And it's, again, easy to say just pull a report and have a look at it, but sometimes just the time to do that can be the challenge in itself. So what's a solution for that? Like, what would you recommend if you were sitting in a seat at the moment and you discovered, okay, we've only got 40% of our portfolio compliant. How do we fix it?
Yeah, so I mean, I said before that we look at ourselves as partnering with agencies. We really do see ourselves as an extension of the agency business. Probably because, you know, most of us have got property management backgrounds, we get it.
Yeah.
So everything that we do is designed around how do we assist the property manager? Because we believe that if we help enough property managers, then by default we're helping enough landlords and we're helping enough tenants, okay? Because we all have the same common goals. So for our clients, we basically take care of that for them. They don't actually need to worry about that reporting because we're managing that data side for them. We have Vantage 360, which is our agent hub where they can get all the information that they need. And in designing that system, we really come at it from a property manager's stance. You know, what do we want to see as a head of department? What do we want to see as a portfolio manager? What do we want to see as a principal of an agency? Yeah.
Yeah, awesome. I love that. I love it. Okay. What else have you got? I know it's just like we've just touched on smoke alarm compliance.
Yes.
What other areas do you guys have a solution for in that space? Because compliance is not just smoke alarms, right? There's so much more to it these days.
Yeah, 100%. So we actually have a full stack solution. So we look after smoke alarm servicing, water efficiency, corded blind safety, safety switch testing. As I said, the reporting and data side of it.
Yeah.
And we also do outsourced routine inspections, which is an area of the business that is growing. Again, helping property managers to keep their bums in seats so that they get to you know, spend time on those relationships rather than all the kind of running around and the admin stuff.
Yeah, absolutely. Because as you know, it's you know, from your experience, that's the challenge, right? Is to have the time to sit in the seat and build that relationship with the client, so that when you're talking about these areas of compliance, you can have those better conversations.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I think property management is becoming more and more a business of scale. So efficiencies are really important, and prioritising is really important as well. So yeah, we look at what we can take away and look after for the property manager.
Brilliant. I love it. I wish you were around 20 years ago.
Yeah. Oh, I know, right? Yeah. And technology has allowed us to do this too. So
yeah, absolutely. And that's the part of it. And I know that's where you've been really involved in, you know, building that tech and that reporting function behind the scenes, shall we say?
Yeah, absolutely.
And like I you know, reporting's awesome. I love it. You know, and the dashboard that you guys have built is brilliant, if I'm allowed to say. Simplicity, right? Ease of access to information that I want as a department head or a principal. It for me is key when it comes to numbers.
Yeah, in a simple, digestible format. Yeah. Right. No one's got time to try and decipher how to understand things. Yeah.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Okay. So, anything else, like even if it's not just compliance, in that property management space at the moment, just tapping into your experience around things, where do you see things in the next 12 months, the focus shifting for property managers, and either challenges or solutions around it?
Yeah, look, I think it's just continuing on with the staff management, to be honest with you. We're seeing a whole lot of, yes, people leaving the industry, but also people moving from agency to agency, portfolios moving from person to person within the agency.
Yes.
So I think, yeah, the next 12 months is probably time for everyone to just get grounded again. One of the things that we help with, and I was smiling, Lauren, because I see that you're doing it in your socials. I know you're working with clients around onboarding.
Yes.
Yes, so that's something that we're really passionate about as well. So in the context of compliance, I look at onboarding in terms of new staff and landlord and tenant, because really you're onboarding them as well. I know we don't call it that, but we're onboarding all three. So what we do is work with clients as well to assist them in that onboarding process. So, for example, if you have a new property manager starting at your agency, you might have an onboarding schedule teaching them about your software and your processes, but do they get taught about compliance?
Yeah.
Who do you use? How do we work? How do they contact us? What's the health of their own portfolio like?
Yep.
So we can actually assist with that. So you don't need to do that. Send them to us and we can take care of them for you.
Yep.
That's one thing. Onboarding of landlords, working in that need, I guess upskilling BDMs so that they understand how to explain the needs of the landlord around, the insurance too, right? But
yes,
compliance as well,
yes.
as many things. And then tenants, explaining to them how that works as well. So you don't get all those phone calls later down the track asking you, who are these people? Why are they calling me?
Yeah.
So I think of onboarding as creating the efficiencies for the future. So a little bit of work now gives you huge payoff, at scale.
I love that. Yeah.
Down the track. Yeah.
Yeah,
And we
absolutely.
implement all those things in our business as well.
And it's easy when you've got new team members starting within your business that have, bring their own ways to the business to make sure that they're on board with how you do things, the way in which it's done, the expectations, and then the message to the client as well is probably the key, isn't it? So I love that you guys partner with the businesses in doing that too, because it's such an important space.
Yeah.
And it helps remove that challenge around dialogue in the future, isn't it, as to why do we have to do this?
It does on all levels, that little investment. And I understand it is a time investment, all these things, but that time investment in the beginning, and you want to set all of this up so it's like rinse and repeat. It's a non-negotiable, yes. But it's done with every staff member, every landlord, every tenant. But those little investments at the beginning, you'd be surprised how, the cumulative effect that has at the end of the track.
Kylie's got a great saying, repeat often, build for scale. And I think you've nailed it.
Yeah, 100%. Yeah.
Awesome. Vic, thank you so much. Is there anything further that you want to share with everyone before we wrap up today's session around what you guys are doing in the next 12 months?
Oh gosh, I don't know how much I can divulge there, Lauren. But,
watch this space then.
We'll always watch this space. We are working with more clients around routine inspections next year. There will be more things coming, but I think we might have to do another session to divulge those things later on.
That we can do, absolutely.
2023. Yeah.
It's only around the corner, so we'll lock that time in. Vic, thank you so much for joining us. So much knowledge in that space, and that, as you said at the beginning, it's about efficiencies, it's about reducing risk, and every business needs to be focusing on that. If they haven't already, moving forward into the next 12 months.
Absolutely. Thank you.
All right, guys, thanks for joining us, and Vic, we'll talk to you soon.
Thank you. Bye.